Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and I am here today to kick off the Big Book Summer Challenge. Yes, it's finally time. The end of May, when every year I start my Big Book Summer Challenge. But this is a special year. This is the 10th anniversary of the Big Book Summer Challenge. So I have some special surprises in store and some new features to share with you. But first, what is Big Book Summer, in case you haven't participated before? First, let me tell you how Big Book Summer started. 11 years ago, at the start of summer, it occurred to me that both of my book groups take a break during the summer, that I would have a little more free time, and I decided to tackle a couple of really big books that I've been wanting to read. They'd been sitting on my shelf for a long time, but I always felt like I didn't have the time for them. One of those was Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. The other was The Passage by Justin Cronin, which my husband and a lot of other people had told me was fabulous. But as you can see, it's really a chunkster. So I had kind of been putting off reading these books, but I really wanted to. So I declared it the summer of the big book, and I did it. I read both of those books over the summer. Well, the next year, I decided to let other people join the fun. And that was how the Big Book Summer Challenge began 10 years ago. Now, the idea is very simple. It's summertime. I like to keep things easygoing. All you have to do is read a book or more that has 400 or more pages. So a big book is anything with 400 or more pages, and you set your own goals. So lots of people just choose one big book that they want to tackle over the course of the summer. Others choose 2 or 3. As you can see here, I like to take a whole stack of books and from those choose what I'm going to read during the summer. So I kind of devote my whole summer to big books, but you don't have to do that. You can just choose one big book and make that a part of your summer reading. So it's very easygoing, very simple, and you set your own goals. And by the way, if it's the start of winter where you are rather than summer, that's fine. Then it's your Big Book Winter Challenge, and you can join in the fun too. Everyone is welcome. So the challenge always runs from Memorial Day weekend here in the US through to Labor Day. What that means is that today is the start of the 2022 Big Book Summer Challenge. It's Friday, May 27th. Here in the US, that's the start of Memorial Day weekend, and the challenge runs all summer. It will end on Monday, September 5th, which is Labor Day here in the US. So you've got more than 3 months to tackle that 1 or 2 or however many you want big books that maybe you've been meaning to get to and haven't made time for. So I will include a link below to my blog, which is kind of the headquarters for Big Book Summer. And that Big Book Summer post is where you can leave a link. But anyone is welcome to participate. So if you have a blog or a YouTube channel, then you are welcome to make a video or a blog post announcing your intention to participate in Big Book Summer. You can list the exact books you hope to read. You can just say you're going to participate. You can do it any way you want. It can be a special post or video just for Big Book Summer, or you can just mention it as part of one of your regular videos or posts. Either way, if you do have a blog or a YouTube channel, you will want to stop by the challenge page and leave a link to your Big Book Summer post or video so that other people can find their way to your blog or your channel. But you don't have to have a blog or a YouTube channel. You can just be any reader anywhere in the world. And in that case, there are 2 ways to join up. If you're on Goodreads, you can visit our Goodreads group. I will link to that down below as well, and it's linked from the challenge page on my blog. No matter how you join in, the Goodreads group is a lot of fun. But if you don't have a blog or video, then you can join that way by just posting your intention to participate in the discussion thread that's marked Big Book Summer Signups. Whether you've signed up that way or not, the Goodreads group is a lot of fun all summer long as people talk about what big books they're reading, what they want to read, what they've finished. People trade recommendations and talk about the big books they've been reading. It's really a lot of fun. So however you join in, definitely stop by the Goodreads group and join in the fun discussions there. And that's really all there is to it. So go check your bookshelves, see if you've got any bigger books, 400 or more pages, that you've been meaning to read, or your TBR list, things that you've been hoping to get to, and announce your intention to participate in Big Book Summer. So what kinds of books count? Any kinds. All genres, all types, fiction and nonfiction, any kind of book you like. Middle grade books and young adult books, as long as they're 400 or more pages, those count as well. Graphic novels or graphic memoirs count. Last summer I read Dragon Hoops by Jean Yuen as one of my Big Book Summer Challenge books. It's a graphic memoir for young adults. Excellent book if you're looking for one to add to your list. And it is 400 or more pages. So anything counts. Yes, ebooks and audiobooks count too. Just take a look at the book. Look the book up online to see how many pages the print edition has. And if it's 400 or more, then it counts. So besides my stack here, I also have been going through my audio backlog, which is extensive, and looking up the page count and choosing some audiobooks for Big Book Summer also. At the end of the summer, there is a Big Book Summer giveaway. And this year, since it's the 10th anniversary, instead of choosing one name from all the participants, I will choose 2 names from among all the Big Book Summer participants to receive a bookshop gift certificate. Another new bit of fun in honor of the 10th anniversary, I have created some really cool Big Book Summer products. Yes, there's merch this summer. You can check out my shop page on Zazzle, and again, I'll link that down below. I've created really cool Big Book Summer coffee mugs, t-shirts, tote bags, even a car magnet, which I ordered for myself, a Big Book Summer notebook in case you want to keep track of the books you're reading. What else? Oh, I'm still trying to figure out how to do bookmarks, but I will get those up soon. So if you're participating in Big Book Summer, take a look at the shop and see if there are some things there that you'd like to help celebrate the summer. And on social media, anytime you talk about it, you can use the hashtag Big Book Summer, no spaces, and that will help to spread the word. So, what am I reading for Big Book Summer? Well, I did what I just described. I went to my shelves, and so did my husband. He participates every summer too now. Now, I discovered, as is true many years, that I have way too many big books. I do tend to save them for summer, so there's way more than I can possibly read this summer. But I picked out a stack of my top choices. I probably won't get to every single one, but these are the books that I'm going to try to choose from during the summer. And it is more than 3 months, so there's a lot of time. The interesting thing is if your big book is only like 420 pages, it doesn't really take all that much longer to read than any other book, maybe an extra few days. But then there are the real chunksters, the big books that are 800, 1,000 pages. Those tend to take me closer to a month. I'll just give you a quick run through of the books that I pulled off my shelf in anticipation of Big Book Summer. and what I hope to get to this summer. We'll see. So the first one is a leftover from Big Book Summer 2021, The Overstory by Richard Powers. I have heard wonderful things about this novel. It was on my Big Book Summer stack last year, and I didn't get to it, so I'm definitely going to get to it this year. It won the Pulitzer Prize, so I've heard great things about it. Lots of people use Big Book Summer to tackle a classic that they've been meaning to get to. Among my stack, I usually choose one classic that's good size. So there are lots of great choices for this. Dickens is always a good bet. Well, I'll show you what I've read in previous summers in a minute. But this year's Big Book Summer Classic choice for me is The Count of Monte Cristo. So my husband read this, and I've heard from lots of other people that it's just a great book. So I've been meaning to read it for a long time, and I'm going to tackle it this summer. Another Big Book Summer tradition for me is very often one of the Outlander series. I've only read 2 so far. So this year, for Mother's Day, I asked for, and my husband gave me, Voyager by Diana Gabaldon. This is book 3 in the Outlander series, and as you can see, it definitely qualifies. It's over 800 pages. So this one will take me a while, but I know from reading the first 2 that I'm going to love it, and it's going to feel like a quick read because it's so well written. This is a shorter big book, Lucky Turtle, a novel by Bill Rohrbach. This is a leftover from Booktopia, which you can hear more about on one of my other videos. Booktopia is this amazing book event. It's held at the beginning of May every year. This year there were 9 authors with relatively new releases represented among the Booktopia authors. I read a lot of those books before Booktopia so that I could talk to the authors about them and to the other readers there. But this is one I didn't get to. It came out the first week of May, so I didn't have a chance to read it before Booktopia. And my mother loved it. She was at Booktopia with me. So I'm really looking forward to it. And this is a shorter big book. It's just over 400 pages. I also like to include a Stephen King novel in my big book summer because most of those are big books and they tend to be very fast-paced, action-packed reads that go pretty quickly. So this year I have chosen Hearts in Atlantis by Stephen King. This is actually a novella and several short stories that are all linked. And this was one of my husband's picks for Big Book Summer last year. And he said it was amazing. In fact, he's been thinking it's probably hard to choose, but it may be his favorite King novel ever. So I decided I had to see what it's all about. I've got John Grisham's Sycamore Row and Michael Connelly, Dark Sacred Night. Both of these authors are great choices if you want a big book that's not too big and is fast-paced and full of action. Both of these writers write wonderful thrillers, legal thrillers in the case of John Grisham, and mystery thrillers in the case of Michael Connelly. They're usually quick reads despite their size. Both of these are just over 400 pages. And one of those big books that I've been meaning to read and haven't gotten to yet, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is the author of The Martian, and I gave this book to my husband, I think for his birthday last October, and he loved it. And of course, I've heard rave reviews from lots of other people, and I keep, for the last 6 months, I've been saying, oh, I have to read that. And then I don't get to it. So Big Book Summer is the perfect time. It's not too bad. It's just over 400 pages. So very much looking forward to that. This is another one that I know is going to be very fast-paced and a relatively quick read for a big book. So that's what I've set aside in terms of print books. Like I said, I've pulled together a folder of audiobooks that are over 400 pages that I will be choosing from throughout the summer as well. So those are my plans. If you would like some inspiration for choosing your big books, I pulled together a stack that I've read in previous big book summers, just to give you some ideas. So earlier I mentioned my first big book summer 11 years ago. One of the books I read was The Passage by Justin Cronin. This whole series is excellent. It's a trilogy. It is science fiction, thriller, horror. It's a real, genre-bending kind of combination. But they're wonderful, wonderful books. And both my husband and I have enjoyed the whole trilogy. The next two books came in later big book summers. As I said, the Outlander series is always good for a big book. Diana Gabaldon. These are historical fiction. It's time travel, but that's really just a small piece of it. It's mostly historical fiction. There's a hefty dose of romance, which I don't normally read, but I love time travel. So the idea, if you have somehow not heard or about Outlander or seen the TV series, is a woman just after World War II. She was a nurse in World War II. She is in Scotland and she gets sent back in time to, I'm trying to think how, 1743. So she has to figure out how to get back to her own time, but also learn to live in this very different time and place. So the whole series is great. What I've read so far, the TV series is also great. So anything from the Outlander series is a great choice for Big Book Summer. Another perennial choice for me for Big Book Summer is anything by Connie Willis. She also writes time travel, historical fiction. These are two of my favorites. I read this one 2 summers ago and Blackout last summer. So these are they're part of a kind of loose series. You don't have to read them in order. Where there's a group in the near future, I think it's 2060, there's a group of Oxford historians who study history by going back in time and witnessing it firsthand. So in Doomsday Book, they go all the way back to the 1300s in England. So I think you've probably got some idea of what's in store. Fabulous, fabulous book. I mean, I finished it. I immediately handed it to my husband. He loved it. One of my favorite books of all time. And then last summer I started, this is a 2-book series that's within the Oxford time travel grouping. Blackout, it's about a whole group of Oxford historians who are going back to World War II England, but different times and places. The glitch here is that the time travel technology starts to mess up and they find themselves stuck there in the middle of England during World War II. The London's in the midst of the Blitz. This book and its follow-up, All Clear, which my husband plans to read for Big Book Summer this year, just outstanding books. If you like historical fiction or if you like time travel, these are just amazing books. Another great series is Wool by Hugh Howey. When this first came out, friends kept telling me, you have to read this book. And I finally got around to it, and I was just as blown away as everyone else had been. It's the first book in a trilogy that is sometimes called the Silo Trilogy. I think the next 2 books are Shift and Dust. So I think I read this before I started Big Book Summer, but Shift and Dust were Big Book Summer books for me, and all of them qualify. Just an outstanding series. It's set in a future where humans have had to go underground and live in this deep silo. And I don't want to say any more than that. It's just a great, great book and a wonderful trilogy. Another great series for Big Book Summer is Anything by Tana French. This is the first book in her Dublin Murder Squad series. This is another sort of loose series. I have been reading them in order because there are some links between the detective characters and their backstories. So each novel is not only a murder mystery, but she also gets pretty in depth in the detectives who are investigating the murder. And so they're mystery thrillers, but with a lot of emotional depth, a lot of character development, and she's just an amazing writer. So I highly recommend anything by Tana French, particularly her Dublin Murder Squad series. One of my favorite books of all time also counts as a big book. This is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. It's about a woman who keeps reliving her life over and over. And at some point, she decides, she knows this is happening. And at some point, she decides she's going to make it her purpose to kill Hitler. So, fascinating book. Again, it's playing with time, but it's historical fiction as well. So, you're seeing a theme here. That's because those are the kind of books I really love, and they tend to be bigger books as well. Now, as I said, I very often pick a big book off of our shelf of classics or order a new one that I want to read. So in past summers, I have read Gone with the Wind. All of these qualify by by a mile. Of course, the modern classic Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell, about set in the South during the Civil War and after it. It was excellent, by the way. I actually liked it. I did it as a read along. Trying to think. I think it might have been Reading Envy who was doing it as a read along, but I'd have been wanting to read it anyway, just because it's a classic. But I actually really, really enjoyed reading it. As I mentioned earlier, I love Charles Dickens, and one of my friends from high school had said that David Copperfield was her favorite book of all time. So I finally tackled that 2 summers ago. Definitely qualifies. And I love Dickens because, I mean, he's a good writer and his plots are very intricate and his characters are always interesting. But I also love that he has a sense of humor. So one of my favorites is Great Expectations, which I listened to on audio for Big Book Summer a few years ago, though I had read it in school. Just love it. Great Expectations had me laughing out loud as I listened to it on my iPod, walking around my neighborhood so that, yeah, I'm sure I looked pretty weird. And then last summer, I tackled Anna Karenina, which was not only my first Tolstoy novel, but my first bit of Russian literature ever, other than like some short stories read in high school. I don't know why, but maybe because of the size, we never read any of the great Russian novels in school. So I was very glad to have read this. Emily of the Book Cougars podcast made this her big book summer book last summer, and did a read along with a Goodreads group. So that was a lot of fun too, to be reading it along with other people. So those are just some ideas. Now those are based on the kind of books that I like, but again, any genre, any type, middle grade, young adult, graphic novels, as long as it's 400 or more pages, it counts. So I really hope you will join in the fun this summer. Check out the details down below to sign up. And I look forward to hearing about what big books you plan to read this summer.